Hey guys, it's Matt with Doug Andrews Distributing. Today we're going to be talking about warning lights and gauges on both of the main kinds of trucks that we run here, the Peterbilt 579 as well as the Freightliner Cascadia. So we're going to go ahead and get into the warning lights first. This is just going to be pretty informational about what they mean and what you should do if you see these lights come on. So we're just going to go ahead and start. As you can see on the screen, we've got most of the lights illuminated. So I'm just going to start at the top left, and we're just going to kind of go around and look at what each of these lights means. What you're looking at right now is the Peterbilt dash, and then we'll go over Freightliner dash. So you see in the top left corner there, that orange light, it's supposed to signify kind of a radiator. So that's your low coolant level light. So that will come on if it detects that the coolant level is low on your truck. So if you're seeing that light, of course, get out, check your coolant level. If it is low, go ahead and top it off. If it's not low, there may be an issue with the sensor. In that case, go ahead and just call outside service and we can get you to the nearest shop to get it looked at. The next light, just below the low coolant light, is that little wrench. So that wrench is actually the check engine light. That little wrench illuminates when there is a non-emissions related problem. So when that happens, it's saying there's an issue, we've seen an issue, but you can still drive it and the vehicle should be serviced at the next soonest available time. So it's not an emergency, but it is something that will need to be looked at. If you go down just below your left turn signal, you'll see the outline of an engine. That's called your MIL light, or malfunction indicator light. So if anybody ever asks you, is your MIL light on? That's the light they're asking about. So when that light is illuminated, it means that there's an engine's emissions failure. So that one is specifically for the emissions system on the truck. Again, if that light comes on, not an emergency, but it is something that you'll want to have looked at because it's specific to the emission system. That's one that you could call in to outside service, tell them what you got going on, and they can make a recommendation as to where you need to go, if it needs to be a shop out on the road, or if we think you can get back to the shop and we can get it fixed here. If we continue further down, you'll see a couple of ABS lights. So the one on top is an ABS light, and it looks like it's on top of a trailer. So that simply indicates it's detecting some kind of problem with the ABS system on the trailer. So if that ever happens, that's something that you'll want to get checked out. That's another one. Just go ahead and give outside service a call. Tell them what you see. They can give you a couple ideas of ways to maybe double check that things are hooked up correctly. But if that light stays lit, they'll have to send you in to have somebody take a look at it and see what's going on. Just beneath that is the ABS light that's just by itself. So that is the ABS system on the truck. And same thing, call outside service if you get that light. They can walk you through a few things to check. And if none of that helps, then they'll get you to the closest place to get that looked at. Underneath that, you have a couple of different red lights. On the bottom left is the park brake. So that just indicates that your parking brake is set. You have brake air in the middle, which is simply denoting that you do not have enough air built up in your air tanks in order to release the parking brake yet. And then the one on the right, so this indicates that there's a fault within the brake system. Not often does that come up, but it can happen. So if there's some issue with your normal braking system on the truck, that light will illuminate. Now if we go to the center of the screen, you'll see, of course, the seatbelt light. So that just simply says that you need to put your seatbelt on. To the right of that is the stop engine light. So this is a light that you really want to pay attention to. If that illuminates, you'll also get a dinging to really grab your attention. Basically, that just means it's seen something that is serious and you need to shut off the engine as quick as you can. It will illuminate things like low oil pressure, low oil level, low coolant level, some of those things that can kill an engine pretty quick. If you get that, pull over as soon and as safely as possible, turn the key off, and then go ahead and call outside service and tell them what you got going on, and they can direct you on what to do. after that. And then of course just below the stop engine light is your high beams, just an indicator that you have your high beams on. Going further to the right, if you go to the bottom there, you see that TC, it's an orange light. So that's your traction control. That light will come on if there is an issue with your traction control system, or you do have a button where you can manually turn on and off the traction control. So if you turn it off, that light illuminates. If you turn it on, that light will go away. If you do have that traction control light come on all by itself, then it means that there's some problem with the system there. And again, you'll just want to call outside service and see what they recommend. And again, when I say call outside service, that's only if you're out on the road. If you're here in the shop, go ahead and just walk in and talk to our service manager and let him know what you got going on, and we can get it taken care of. Just to the right of that, you'll see another orange light. It's a trailer with a little bolt of lightning. So that just means that there's some kind of problem with the electrical on the trailer. It can denote a few different things. It's a very rare light. I have not seen it in the 13 years I drove, so I wouldn't anticipate that being one that you would see often. But again, if you see that and you check all your connections and everything looks good, then you're going to want to just call outside service and tell them what you got going on. Just to the right of that is another orange light that looks like a vehicle leaving its lane. That is if we had the factory lane departure warning system on our trucks, and we do not. So that light will never come on because we don't option that system on our Peterbilts. And the same with the other couple lights that are there. You have a red trailer. That's specifically for trucks that carry belly dumps to tell you if the belly dump is open or closed. We don't carry belly dumps, so that's never going to come on. And then just above it is the PTO light, so power takeoff. None of our trucks are equipped with power takeoffs, so that light will never be an issue for you. Just underneath the right turn signal, you'll see some dots, and then it looks kind of like a sideways ice cream cone. When that light comes on, that is the warning symbol that your DPF, or diesel particulate filter, needs a regeneration. You'll actually pull over, set your parking brake, and then you'll hit your regen button, hold that down for about 20 seconds. It'll idle up, and then it'll start doing the regen. And that brings us to the next light. If you go just above the right-hand turn signal, you'll see again that sideways ice cream cone with a little temperature sign. So that is denoting a high exhaust temp. So that'll come on if you're doing a regen, because what it's doing is it's injecting diesel into that diesel particulate filter, and then it's lighting it on fire and burning out all of the particulate matter that's on the face of that filter and reducing it to ash. And so it's a pretty hot fire. I think it's like 1400 degrees. And so it will give you that light that you have a high exhaust temperature. If you go up then to the top right, you'll see a green outline of an engine with a fan. So Peterbilts are equipped with a manual engine fan. You have a switch that you can just turn the fan on and it'll just run continuously. So that light just denotes that you have that switch on and that your fan is running continuously. And then just above that, of course, is the battery warning light. So that's going to come on if you go to start the truck and it doesn't have enough juice. That battery light will stay on, letting you know your battery's low. Or if you're driving and say your alternator goes bad, something like that, and it's not recharging the battery, you'll see that light pop up and say, hey, the battery's not holding a charge. You also have one or two lights that I'm just going to have to tell you about. One that you'll see from time to time is water and fuel. So this just illuminates when it detects that there's a certain percentage of water in the fuel. That can be just fuel contamination. It can be that your fuel filter's not sealing correctly. A lot of times it will see that and you'll run for a little while and then it'll go away. Occasionally it will cause more problems than that, but that's pretty much the only thing that'll happen with that. So on the Peterbilt, that's most of what we have as far as warning lights. There may be one or two others, but these are the main ones that you'll see, and hopefully just having a description of what they are and what to do with each one of them will be helpful. Thanks.